What's good? My name is Isaiah Rivera. I have a 50.5-inch vertical, which is the highest officially recorded vertical in the world. And today I'm going to be answering your questions about anything and everything related to jumping higher. With the first question, why is my jump reducing despite adding more workouts to my routine? If you are finding that your vertical is going down, even though you've been training the hardest in your life, all right, you've been doing the proper training, you're trying to periodize it and all that stuff, if your vertical is still dropping, it is because of one word: fatigue. When you train, your preparedness as an athlete, think of your preparedness, think of it as how well equipped you are to handle a workout session or a training session. And there's short-term preparedness, and then there's long-term preparedness. What affects long-term preparedness is your fatigue, right? When you do a workout, it decreases your short-term preparedness. That's why they say you should work out every 48 to 72 hours. That way you can recover enough to hit the numbers that you're supposed to hit in the next workout. But as you do workout, let's say you're working out every other day. As you keep doing each subsequent workout, your long-term, your overall preparedness as an athlete is slowly decreasing, going down, going down, going down. As that lowers, your vertical jump is going to lower. The only exception is for an athlete that has a very low training age. If you've never trained, the adaptations happen so quickly that you can make gains mid-training cycle. And that's what happens a lot of times when you have an athlete with a low training age that joins THP. I've seen guys gain like 3-4 inches in the first week. That's not because there was something magical up with the workouts. It's just that you did really good training as an athlete with a young training age and you adapted extremely quickly and improved. But as you get more experienced, right, it takes longer to see those adaptations. So you're going to see a decrease in that preparedness. And then what happens is after about 3 to 4 weeks of hard training, you have to drop that volume, right? Especially, let's say you're a basketball player. This is even more important. Take a week. Don't play basketball for a week. Don't jump for a week. Get in the weight room. Cut sets and reps in half. Keep intensity high. And what's going to happen is during that week, it's going to be a period of recovery. And you're going to supercompensate. Supercompensate is when your preparedness goes above baseline, and that's where you see the vertical jump training improvements. And then you can only sustain that for a short period of time, and then your performance goes back to baseline and sometimes even lower if you unload for too long. But then at that point, you start a new training cycle and repeat the process. So if your vertical is going down, probably means you're training really hard. If you've been training for 3 to 4 weeks, take a deload week, and I bet you're going to see a huge increase in your vertical jump. All right, what are good goals for each height and reach? How long will it take to see significant progress? Goals are relative. It is impossible to predict how much you are going to improve. The number one thing I will say is control the controllables. Don't worry about where you're going to be or where your friend is or any of that stuff. Worry about the work that you can put in, right? And look at it really short term. Today, what can I do today to get me closer to my goal? So if you're hurt, don't think about the fact that you're hurt and you can't jump. No, think about what can I do today that's going to make me feel better tomorrow. If you're not hurt and you're training, what workout is going to get me closer to that goal that I'm trying to reach in the future? And then just put all your focus into that. And then don't think about the rate at which you improve or where you're trying to get to. Just set the goals to point your mind and body in the right direction, right? So the goal sets the direction, and then just start working out, and the discipline's going to get you closer to that direction that you put yourself towards. How to recover faster from soreness and tiredness in general. If it's muscle soreness, the best way to get rid of muscle soreness is continue doing what made you sore in the first place, right? Soreness is usually a result of novelty, whether in the term of exercise selection or at the intensity and volumes that you're lifting with. So if you want to stop getting sore, just keep lifting at those same intensities and keep doing those exercises that were novel so they're not novel anymore, and then you'll stop getting sore. I actually don't really get sore when I do really heavy leg workouts. Now, in terms of tiredness could come from a lot of different things. One factor that I will say that everybody has to try their best to mitigate are external stressors, life stressors, right? School, relationships, if you're not getting good sleep, right? If you have a job where you're standing all day, or your boss is yelling at you, right? All those things are going to affect your recovery and affect how you just feel day to day. Also, your diet's really important. Make sure you're eating clean. Stay away from processed foods, candy, junk food, all that stuff. that the quality of the foods that you eat is also going to directly affect how you feel day to day. So with all those things in mind, analyze, see what you're doing that doesn't align with what I just said, and then change it, okay? Make a habit. Let's say it's a habit of not eating junk food. Take all the junk food away from your house. Don't eat junk food for 21 days straight, and you're going to build that habit, and then you're not even going to have to think about it. What are the odds for a 6'8" tall guy, and if he's good, like very good in basketball, to make it to the NBA? I mean, it's still low odds. To make it to the NBA, you have to be tall and extremely skilled, right? Those two things are in conjunction, and then you're good under pressure, right? And you have work ethic to where you can show up to practice every single day. If you're injury resilient to where you're not going to get hurt, all of those things are things that are going to move you towards that. And then politics, right? You have to know the right people. You have to be in the right system, and that's going to increase your chances of playing at a high level. How to get rid of Achilles tendonitis. Step 1, stop doing what is flaring it up. Step 2, I want you to track your pain every single morning as soon as you wake up. You can do hops, you can do a one-leg calf raise, something that's going to induce a small level of pain. Write the pain from 1 to 10, put it in your notes app. And I also want you to write the most intense thing that you did for your Achilles that day. Then you're going to start doing isometrics, 3 to 5 sets of 30 to 45 seconds, 3 times per day, every 6 hours. Do that until the pain drops at about a 3 or less out of 10. Once it gets to that point, you're going to start doing slow concentric training. Right? You're going to do 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps at a slow tempo, 4 seconds up, 4 seconds down of a calf raise. Once you can do weight pretty heavy on that, then you're going to do energy storage activity, dropping from a box, build up to a big box height. Then you're going to slowly add in your sport or whatever activity is elastic that you're trying to improve. Don't do more than 10% jumps in volume week to week to week to week. And make sure you're tracking the pain scores throughout this whole process. If the pain score ever goes up after you load the Achilles, that means that there was too much loading on the Achilles. You need to regress it back. That means whatever you did was too much. And then if you follow those pain scores, you're going to get healthy. How do you overcome the mental barrier of not seeing progress and feeling like you're not doing enough? So I kind of covered this in the last Q&A. For reference, I've gained about half an inch of vertical in 2 years. Before that, my vertical was stuck for like 2 or 3 years, and then there was a 3-inch gain when I first hit 50.5. And the short answer to that question, because I went super in depth on this, is I made the goal, and I also genuinely enjoy dunking and training, and it's become a habit. This is what I love. At this point, I treat it like it's my 9 to 5. I just show up every single day, put in the work, get out, and then I enjoy it. And I don't focus on my goal. I'm not thinking I need to jump 50.5 inches. I'm about to test my vertical. By the time this video is released, I will already have tested my vertical. But hypothetically, if I test 47 when I've been trying to test 51, so what? I'm just going to get right back in the gym and keep trying. But I enjoy it. I enjoyed that testing aspect. I enjoy dunking. I enjoy the people I meet because of it. And I separate myself away from the outcome. And I just make the work the goal and enjoy it, man. Enjoy it while you can still do this. There's gonna come a day where you're not even gonna be able to train, right? You're gonna be old on your deathbed. You can't train, you can't dunk, and you are going to wish you could just be back in your old body for 30 minutes to put in that work. So make the work the goal. Let's see here. How long have I worked on my vertical jump? So I am 26 years old. I did my first workout when I was 14 or 15, I believe. So I've been training for over 10 years on my vertical jump. So a long time. But hey, all good things in life take time. Has your jumping helped in a real life situation? Ooh, that is a good question. I'm assuming by real life situation, you mean like something that was potentially dangerous. There's been times where my daughter has fallen and I've moved quick to react and catch her and that type of thing. I feel like it's helped a lot in terms of that. It helps with random sports that I try to play at leisure. I don't know. Nothing super crazy serious has happened to me in terms of that. So I don't think it has played a huge role in terms of outside life scenarios. Can you keep going on past a 50.5 inch vertical? Yeah, I think so I actually never used to think a 50-inch vertical was possible for me. If you look back at my videos in 2019, I actually was vlogging a few times a week, and I was vlogging my workouts and what I was doing. And that series was called Road to a 50-inch vertical. I think I had tested a 47 at the time. It was my max vert. Those vertex weren't measured, so it might have been like a 46 or something at the time. And my goal was to hit a 50-inch vertical. And I remember I started doing those series, and then I would test my vertical, and 2 years went by, and I think I hit like a 48 or something. And I started actually questioning if that was even possible. At the time, I actually did not think it was possible. I was like, oh, this must be past my limit. But I stuck with it and eventually hit 50. Now, what do I think the limits for me are now? I think realistically, for sure, 51, 51.5. I think I've actually hit 51, 51.5 in my highest jumps ever. They just weren't on vertex. So I do think that's within the realm of possibility, or it's almost like guaranteed. Now, within the realm of possibility, I think 52, 53 is probably the upper end of my genetic limit. Something that would be really interesting is like, what if PEDs, if I took PEDs, would that affect what my upper ceiling is? So that's something that's also, it's fun to think about, but I don't know if I ever will do it. Which, by the way, I don't do PEDs now. But yeah, that's another thing that like maybe there could be a half inch or an extra inch that could be possible from that. But who knows? I'm actually curious. What do you guys think is the upper limit for someone's vertical? Should I progressively overload my compound and Olympic lifts by 10 to 25 pounds weekly? So if you don't know what progressive overload is, it just means that you need to subject your body to higher and higher loads in order for your body to adapt and get stronger and jump higher, ideally. In terms of how to do it, my favorite way to progressively overload is just to write your cycle out, write what sets and reps you're going to do and at what percentage. And then typically, by the way, if you're doing 1 rep, if you're doing sets of 1, right, that's 100% of your max you can do for 1. 2 reps, 95%. 3 reps is 90%. 4 reps is 85, and 5 reps is 80. So if I were to program someone like 5 sets of 5, I'd probably have them do the last 2 sets at like 75 or 77.5% of their max. If they're feeling good, they might be able to hit that 80%. And then you program based on that, and then what you do is you deload once a month, test your maxes during that deload, and then use that new max to, it's going to give you new numbers to hit based on the percentage. So the percentages are always the same. In terms of 5 reps at 75 to 80%. But as you get stronger, obviously that number is going to climb up. So if you do 100 pounds, you can do 80 pounds at 80%. If you test your max again, now you can do 200. Now you can do 160 pounds at 80%. And that's going to allow you to progressively overload your body. And it's going to extend out the process a little bit. It's going to periodize it, and it's going to increase your genetic ceiling. The way that you said you're going to do it, you're going to hit a point of diminishing returns extremely quickly. And it might lower what's possible for you in terms of your genetic abilities. That's one of the benefits of periodizing your training, is progress is a little bit slower, a little bit more extended out. But when you look at a long enough period of time, that athlete who periodized the training will have a higher peak than the one who didn't. What time am I at here? All right, we can keep going. We can keep going for a little longer. All right. Can you deload halfway through a training phase, or should you change your phase? This is an interesting question. You can deload at any moment. First you have to look at what the purpose of the deload is. A deload is there so that you can recover and see the adaptations from your training. When you train and you're doing a cycle, your preparedness is going to go down, your vertical is going to go down, and then you deload so that you can super compensate and see the results of that. You're not going to benefit from a deload if you haven't done any work. So if you do half of a cycle, there's basically no point in deloading. So you have to basically tire your body out. Do training that fatigues you, and that's how you benefit from it. Now, if you go from cycle to cycle without deloading, you're just building up a ton of fatigue, and you're going to be affecting the quality of that second training cycle. That's the other thing, is your training quality is going to go down. Your intent isn't going to be as high on the lifts. You're not going to be as springy on plyos. You're not going to have as much intent on the plyos. So you should deload before starting a new training cycle. That way you can attack it with maximum intensity. And intensity is very important because any intensity that's 90% above recruits type 2B muscle fibers. Type 2B, so that's the fast twitch muscle fibers. If you're doing lower intensity things, if you're not having max intent on things, you're not going to be recruiting those fast twitch muscle fibers. And those are the fibers that you want to recruit so that you can jump higher. You want to make those fibers stronger. You want to have them, you want to be able to recruit more of them. You want to be able to recruit them at a higher rate, right? And that's going to help you jump way higher, run faster, be a more explosive athlete overall. What was the hardest plateau in your journey? Ooh, good question. A lot of the obstacles a lot of the plateaus that I've ran into have been because of injuries. So it wasn't necessarily that my vertical was plateaued, it's that I hit a vertical and then in the process of trying to break past it, I ran into injury. The three most frustrating ones were when I first dealt with knee pain. The second one was 4 years ago when I had debilitating back pain. That was like an 8-month regression in my training, and it extended my training out by like a year. Like I could have hit the numbers I've hit now like a year or two ago if I hadn't been dumb and trained through that back pain. And then the third one was actually my TFL. So I've had tendinopathy at the quad where it attaches at the greater trochanter, and that tendon snapped because I was training through that for so long. Now I'm a lot more cognizant. I started tracking the pain. Just tracking that helped tremendously. This has been the healthiest year in terms of my training, and it's purely because I started tracking my pain scores every single morning. All right. What is my wingspan? So I'll give out my whole anthropometry. Wingspan, 6'6", standing reach, 8'1". That's in shoes. And my height barefoot in the morning is 6 foot 1.5. That's first thing in the morning. And then I fluctuate between 181 and like 185 pounds. I actually have no idea where I'm at right now, but it's always somewhere in there. All right. And how tall was I when I was 14? I was 5'4". I actually remember all my heights. When I was 12, I was 5'1". When I was 13, I was 5'3". When I was 14, I was 5'4". When I was 15, I was 5'6". Got to 5'8". When I was 15, started having a bit of a growth spurt. 16, started the year at like 5'9". That's actually when I dunked for the first time. I was like 5'9", 5'10". Got up to 5'11", 6 foot at the end of being 16. And then 17, 18, got to like 6'1", 6'2", which is my final height now. Any in-game dunks during high school? I sadly did not. I wanted to dunk in-game really badly, but I never did. Why do you guys keep playing pickup games despite the risk of injury jeopardizing your career? This is a very good question. And yes, that is an extremely big risk, right? My income is tied to my ability as a dunker. And there is literally zero benefit aside from getting cool videos that might go viral on Instagram if I play basketball. The reason I play pickup games is because I love basketball. That was my original love, my original passion. I grew up playing it. I wanted to be in the NBA when I was little. It's the reason I even fell in love with dunking in the first place, and I still love basketball to this day. I love competing. I love the strategy aspect of the game. I love how much skill is involved in the game. I also love how you can display your athleticism in the games. And it's an escape for me. Right now, imagine dunking and training people, that's my job. Basketball is like my hobby, right? And it's something that I do to like get away sometimes. So it is stupid. Like if you're talking strictly from a monetarily and health perspective, it is stupid, but I love it. And sometimes we do stupid things out of love. How old were you when you first dunked? I was 16, 5'10", 16 and 9 months. September, October, November, December, January, February, March. 16 and 6 months was the first time I dunked. All right, cool. I think that's a pretty good spot to end it, guys. If you want to get coached by me personally to jump higher, go to THPstrength.com. Use the code THP at checkout for 10% off. You get 4 group calls a week where you can talk to me personally. I can help you with jump technique, lifting technique. You also get a private group chat with me, John Evans, Austin Burke, You can ask us questions 24/7 on there. And you get access to the THP community and an entire course on how to jump higher. And that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you enjoyed that Q&A. I'll catch you guys in the next video.